Okay, so I thought it might be kind of interesting to compare my current tier list with the first ever tier list that I published, at least on my Discord. Even though it is a different patch, I still feel like there's going to be a lot of takes that were terrible back then that I had. So let's go and take a look. The one on the left is my current tier list, so you can see I have Monkey as the best in the game, then Turtle as the second best. I feel like Melon Armor is just super good, and then Penguin in the third best spot, which is pretty new, but I feel like this is based off Arena, by the way, not in Versus, and I feel like most of my Arena wins actually just come from Penguin scaling now. If you can get like Penguin Monkey, it feels like kind of a free win. If you can get like Penguin Cat or something, just like two good scaling units, and I feel like you're kind of set. And then Melon Armor, obviously really helpful. You don't see a ton of mosquitoes or anything, so it's pretty good. If we look at my other S tier, I had Tiger, Turkey, Cow. So this was before Cow got nerfed, which was kind of insane. +4/+4 for 2 gold. It was really good. Turkey, I moved Turkey all the way down to B tier. I think it's still a pretty decent unit, and if you do want to go for a summoning build, you can get to 10 wins with it. It's not impossible, but I feel like just consistency-wise, it wouldn't be that wise, and that's why I have Turkey all the way down in B tier. But this was also before they kind of nerfed the fly turkey, where you could summon like 10 flies. So that was kind of a thing. And also they nerfed Tiger, so Tiger Snake no longer the OP combo that got me like 11 wins in a row in Arena. Let's go to A tier though. Fly is just, it's insane. It's so good. It like not only pops Melon Armor, but you get a level 2 fly, you're spawning 10 10s. It's just a really good spot to just fill anything. And I think it's probably the strongest tier 6 now. At least in Arena. I think in Versus, Dragon's better because Dragon scaling, like you go late game. But I found myself not taking Dragon too much in Arena, unless if I get an early Dragon. Ox, just really good early like tempo is what people call it. Just winning early rounds with Ox, it's like a free thing because you have Melon Armor. Also, you can just like pill stuff in front of it, usually flamingos, and you get a bunch of stats. So that's always pretty nice. Snail is just great scaling if you happen to lose. I mean, pretty much anytime I lose, it's great to find snails. Cows, good scaling. Otter, if you just get a bunch of otters early on, it is pretty insane. You get like an early 9-10 fish or something like that, you're pretty much set. Bison, you know, it's situational. You have to have a level 3, and a lot of times the level 3s aren't that helpful, but if you can get like a level 3 mosquito, level 3 swan, or like a level 3 fish from the early scaling, you know, it definitely pairs well with that. Cat, like a good secondary kind of scaling units. Swan, the best tier 2 to take. I don't always take Swan because I usually focus on leveling up the level 1s, but it's always a good buy, I think, at least on turns like 3 and 4. Mosquito, it's great to just have a late game Mosquito because it snipes Melon Armor so effectively. Level 3 Mosquito and Bison is probably my favorite combo there. Kangaroo is just amazing against summoning builds. I still occasionally lose to summoning builds in the middle rounds, but if you have like a strong unit and a Kangaroo, you should be set against it. Crab, the Crab Cupcake is, again, like, it's just so good for early rounds. It's going to win you a lot of them, but unfortunately you're going to have to like sell it at some point, and then it's kind of just like a waste of money, maybe, but it helps you win the early rounds, so I still think it's very good. Giraffe is just the good tier 3 scaler. Alright, now let's look at the other tier A. Snake in A tier. Snake has fallen off so hard because Tiger Snake just isn't that good anymore, especially since like wide scaling is a thing with Penguin and like Dragon. You're just not gonna kill anything with Snake, it feels like. And you don't run into a ton of summoning builds anymore. Dragon in A tier makes sense. Bison A tier, Kangaroo. Like a lot of same stuff, but Monkey is pretty low. This is like, I don't know if the patch has buffed Monkey. It kind of feels like it has, even though it's tier 5, it gives +3/+3. It just feels more important than ever. You can win without Monkey for sure, but I feel like you pretty much always take a Monkey on turns 9 and 10 if you can. Scorpion, pretty good. This is before 1-up Scorpion, but the reason I have Scorpion in B tier is just because I feel like I never end up taking it. Like, I think 1-up Scorpion's a very valid strat. It can easily counter a strong unit at the front that's being buffed by a Monkey, but I just don't take it very often. I don't know. Rooster in A tier. Rooster got nerfed pretty heavily, but this was clearly like the best unit of the game, like pre-patch, so I was way wrong about that. Shark in A tier. That's just, I have no idea what I was thinking there. I think I got like one arena win with Shark, which happens early on when you play this game. You get like one arena win, you're like, my god, this unit's so good. I won with Shark. It can't be like C tier or D tier. Snail's A tier. Okay, makes sense. Badger, I've left this Badger's in the same exact spot, which is high B tier. I feel like it's good. Honey Badger is definitely a good strat. It's just like, I don't know. I end up selling Badger usually by turn 9 because of like Crocodile. And unless if I'm like scaling it with a Penguin, I just feel like I sell it all the time. Spider, you can pill Spider. It's a pretty good strat, but it's also just like really risky, I feel like. And I really prefer to level up stuff over pilling Spider, but if you can't level up anything, I think it's pretty good. Parrot is very fun unit. You can do a lot of things with Parrot, especially since it's tier 4. It was tier 5 in this patch, and it was a 3-2 versus a 6-3, so that's why I had Parrot all the way down in C tier. But now you can like Parrot Deer, you can Parrot Ox, you can do a lot of things with Parrot, and that makes it a lot more fun. Scorpion, I mean, it's a good fill, but usually I just don't end up taking it unless if I am just taking it for like a couple turns or something. Skunk, in Arena, I don't feel like it's super important, but I think in Versus it's really good. But it's still a good like slot to fill. There's not a ton of tier 4s. There's usually just Penguin is what I'm going for, but if you want to get like a Skunk, it's certainly not a bad unit. And then Fish, if you can get like early level 3 Fish, I feel like it's pretty big advantage in Arena. Seal is just like, it's a good secondary scaling. If you have a Penguin already or like a Monkey, you can just fill in the other spot with a Seal if you want. Or if you do happen to go Food Bill, it is possible to get to 10 wins, but it also doesn't happen every time. Like I've gotten Seal quite a bit, and my consistency with winning, it's pretty good, but it's not 100% obviously. And I don't know, Rabbit and Seal, it gives you really uneven stats. Ants, pretty good to just get like a level 2 ant early on for a level up and then pill it for some stats. Turkey, already kind of went over. Flamingo, it's pretty good just to pill Flamingo, especially if you have an Ox. I think it's definitely worth it. Leopard, I just don't end up going Leopard a ton in Arena, but obviously it's a really good late game unit if you can get it. Rabbit, it's like decent mid game scaling if you want to go double Rabbit and then like buy food, but I don't know, like it's not always great to just buy food because then you never like reroll or level stuff up really, and that could be a problem, especially late game. If you just have a bunch of like uneven stat units with no abilities, you'll definitely lose. But Deer, it's just a great like fill, I think, especially since it can ruin a lot of people's builds with the splash attack early on. Dog is a very weird one because I feel like if you do get a level or a dog on turn 3, I usually take it, and my success has been pretty good with it. But also, if you don't get a level 2 dog, it can be kind of rough, and the scaling falls off pretty fast. So it's definitely not like a great unit, and I only take it every once in like a blue moon, I guess is the saying. So very infrequently. Snake, it's like, it's an okay fill. The only purpose is to like snipe melon armor now, but the mosquito usually does that really well, and this is a tier 6. I just don't find myself taking a snake very often. Rooster is, it's so hard to scale in the free-to-play pack. I don't know, I just don't end up taking it. If you really want to try, you can go like, you know, giraffe rooster, penguin rooster, but those don't scale very fast. You'd have to go like monkey rooster, and then you have the rooster at the front the entire time, and you can't actually spawn stuff. So I just find myself not going rooster. Same thing with Dodo. I mean, Dodo rooster is still a pretty decent strat, but I just don't go for it very often. Tiger, not a lot of things to Tiger. Pretty much the only purpose would be like Tiger Leopard, really. And again, I don't go Leopard that often. Dolphin, another just good like fill slot. It can snipe something pretty important on their team. Alright, now the other B tier. Oh, I added a F tier on this tier list. I don't have one on the previous one. But Badger, Swan's pretty low, especially since it was a 3-4 then. Dog was also, like, this was before I knew about duck strats. And duck strats really completely changed the tier list here. So a lot of stuff is too low, like Ox. Fly was only a 2-2, or with spawn 2-2, so I don't really remember how good Fly was without a turkey, but probably not great. It was just like a counter to Rooster, actually, if I remember. Dolphin, Cat. Worm is pretty high. Worm is always a risky thing. If you get like a turn 5 worm and you have a rabbit, it's probably worth going for, but it's still pretty risky. And like late game, it has no ability, right? So if you have a 50-50 with no ability, it's not the best, but you know, high stats usually wins you the game. You got deer, whale. Whale is pretty high, but it got nerfed, so... Fish, ants, duck is in an interesting spot. I feel like I just didn't use duck enough, so I put it in the middle of B tier. Croc. I really do like crocodile. Even though it got buffed, it somehow moved down the tier list. That doesn't make any sense. It can counter badgers so well, and it can ruin like turkey builds sometimes, but I just like... The chance of you actually running into a build where the crocodile is helpful against, it's so low. Most of the time it just snipes like a monkey or a penguin, and is kind of just useless. A bunch of other stuff. Turtles, way too low, of course. Beaver's pretty high. I just never take beaver unless if I have to anymore. Sheep is pretty high. Blowfish is pretty high. The whole whale, or not the whale, but hedgehog blowfish with a skunk, actually a decent build. I'm always shocked at how often it works, especially since I lose to them even with decent teams. It falls off eventually, but you can still get to 10 wins in arena with it, which maybe should move these two up, but I don't feel like doing that. Let's see, penguin's really low. Mosquito, low. Giraffe, like fair enough. I mean, this was before it had like actually decent stats. Now I feel like meeting a giraffe is just pretty decent. Mammoth is really high since I think it's kind of bad, and so is hippo, but that's okay. We actually have gorilla in the same spot. I feel like some of these I just haven't touched at all. No, I've definitely moved gorilla around, and I moved it back to C tier. It's like, it's a good ability if you can scale it, but most of the time you can't really scale tier 6s, and if you do want to scale one, it's usually going to be like a leopard, or like you're going to take a fly or something. Worm, again, really risky. Sheep, it's like with the horse build, you don't get summoning builds very often, especially like, I mean, if you have to, you can take it for the first couple turns, but usually like the mid game is pretty hard for summoning builds. So crickets, like, it's okay. If you want to go like ant, cricket can win you some early games, but I usually don't take cricket. It's mostly just mosquito, fish, and otter. Blowfish, hedgehog, kind of already went over that. Horse, pig, beaver, again, only take if you can't get the better stuff in the shop. Mammoth, just pretty much never take. They buffed the mammoth, but the stats are really not what mattered because you probably are just like giving the stat buffs and you don't really care about the actual units. The whale, I don't know why they nerfed it. It wasn't even good in the first place, but it happens. And shrimp, because dog fell off pretty hard because of the nerf, shrimp is just no longer good. But if you do happen to get like the perfect situation where you get early dog and early shrimp, you can buy it and it's actually helpful. Hippo, oh wait, I should go over here. Okay, so crab is really low. I moved crab all the way from C tier to A tier. Rhino, pretty low. I mean, yeah, camel is way too high. I think camel is one of the worst units in the game. I can't believe it's a tier 3. Like, you can get tier 3s on turn 3, which makes it okay, but like, the fact that it's a tier 3 is just, it's so sad. It could be a tier 2 and still be garbage. Rabbits is pretty low, but I mean, I wouldn't really recommend going rabbit if you if you have like a good team already, I guess. Peacock, dodo. This was when dodo was super good. I can't believe I had dodo in C tier when like duck strats and dodo chains were a thing. This was clearly way off. Hedgehog, shrimp, cricket, elephant. Seal is pretty low, but I don't know. It did get slightly buffed with its stats. I don't think that's really the reason why it's good, but I've just been playing with it more, and I'm pretty happy with the results. You know, cow seal, obviously pretty nice, too. You can chocolate a seal. If you can get that level 2 seal, then it's pretty decent scaling. Horse, pig, parrot. Parrot as a tier 5 was just so bad. Alright, and then, so we got the hippo, rhino. Like, the counter the summoning builds. If summoning builds aren't good, why would you try to counter them? It just doesn't make any sense. Shark is just like a tier 5. When you're looking for monkeys, the other tier 5s kind of just aren't worth it. Elephant, like occasionally I'll buy one if I just feel like spending 3 gold and put it in the back. It is a 3-5, which is higher stats than the camel, even though it's a tier 2. So it's not the worst unit in the game. But then you got all the herd effects down here, you know, with peacock, camel. Like dirty rat is just, its ability is so bad. Why would you have an ability that actively hurts you? Ducks are just pretty much never worth buying, and squirrel is just so bad. It's like a very small chance you even find something in the shop that would be helpful, and it's a 1 gold discount, and it's so bad. There's no point in going squirrel, I think. Even if you're going with the food build, I don't recommend taking squirrel. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the tier list. Let me know how much you disagree with me, and feel free to tell me how wrong I am. That's always fun to hear about. Anyway, thanks for watching.